Rick Robinson here at Zoom into Books. Zoom into Books is, of course, the premier author platform on the internet where we discuss all kinds of books, all kinds of happenings, and the happening today is that we are at the American Library Association annual conference in Philadelphia, and our guest right now is Robert Forbes and Barabara McClintock, who have come up with a wonderful book. I just took a look at this one, Addison Mizner, A Visionary Architect. Now, okay, I'm originally, and I've spent a lot of time down in the Palm Beaches. I know a little bit about the style of architecture, but you gotta help me here, Bob. How did you come up with writing a book about the guy who came up with the style of architecture in Southern Florida?
Well, it's actually pretty simple. As a children's book writer down in Palm Beach, friends asked me if I would do a biography of Addison Mizner for the Preservation Foundation of Palm Beach. They're very interested in preserving some of the houses that Addison Mizner built. And as I got into the book, I'm a fiction writer. I found fiction a little bit easier than nonfiction. I started digging into this life story, which was fascinating. He was a terrific guy, a great American story, true grit, determination in the face of lots of adversarial circumstances, and designed a whole world down in South Florida.
You know, it's interesting you say that because I have done the same thing and being mostly a fiction writer, but I ventured off a couple of times into nonfiction, and I'm reminded of the quote by Warren Zevon, who said that any writer, for any reason, there is no such thing as fiction. There's always a little bit of truth in everything that we write. Now, beautifully illustrated, I might add.
My goodness.
By Barabara McClintock. Barbara, how did you envision doing the illustrations of this? Because it's a brilliant take on Florida architecture.
Well, the job of the illustrator is to visually narrate the story. So I kind of tag along with this wonderful story about this extraordinary guy who went through thick and thin and always stayed true to his vision of wanting to be an architect. And there were so many funny, wonderful moments in the book to bring out and to create images of. Like at one point, Addison was in the Yukon looking for gold, and he had a team of huskies that because he was very hungry, while he was out doing this, there wasn't food readily available at all times, so he named his huskies after various kinds of food. There was chocolate cake,
scrambled eggs, lettuce, the names that he just came up with because he liked thinking about those foods.
Well,
he wasn't about to eat the dogs, though.
Well, you could tell he wasn't Irish because I would have named them Jamesons and Guinness and Irish stew. But now, help me here. Both of you have done other things before this collaboration. Both things on your own, correct?
Yes.
Bob, I'll start with you. Tell me what you've written in the past.
I've written books of poetry, rhymed and metered poetry for children. And I was lucky enough to ask the great Ronald Searle to do the illustrations, which he did.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful.
So we had those published by Overlook Press, and opened a world. I've been in the world of business all my life, but this new world of children's books has been an absolute joy to be in. I get to meet people like Barabara and work with people like Barabara.
It's funny you say that because I now, this is the first time I've ever been to one of these events with 2 grandchildren, and I find myself drawn to the children's sections more than I am to the fiction and nonfiction sections. Barabara, same thing for you though. You've worked on a lot of books before. Tell me about some of those.
Yes, well, I have written and or illustrated almost 50 books, and I have also collaborated on a series of collections of stories, for example, with Francois Francois Mouly and Art Spiegelman on their series of collections of comic books written for children, and all sorts of fun things like that. So I have written quite a few of my books, but I also enjoy illustrating manuscripts that are written for other people. I've won numerous awards, and I have absolutely been so lucky to have a career doing what I most love to do in the world. And I love it that I don't have to commute to work. I can get up in the morning and go down to my studio, and my commute is into the kitchen to the coffee pot and back to the studio again.
So I've written one publication books of nothing but for my grandchildren, each one of them, but I've illustrated them myself. I need to send them to you to help me with the other ones then. But okay, what is the age range that I want that you want this book?
For this
what
book,
somebody should be reading?
Specifically written for fourth graders. The Preservation Foundation has a course they teach during the fourth grade year, which is part of the Florida curriculum on the history of Florida. They teach about architecture, and that's why they asked me to do a book about the premier architect of South Florida, Addison Mizner.
Okay, I now have a question for you, Barbara. Do you change the illustration when you're doing it for a fourth grader versus when you're doing it for me? You know, as I tell people, I'm in my 60s, but I read at a 70-year-old level. So, but do you change the illustrations when you're doing that between the two? And tell me how you handle that.
I do. Well, I've been in this business for a very long time. So I started out doing illustrations that were based on 19th century steel engraving techniques and styles. And every book I take a fresh approach to. So some are quite intense and lots of details. I just illustrated the last manuscript that Tommy DiPaolo wrote, and for that I tried to be influenced by his style, so it's much looser, bolder colors, a much more simple approach to drawing. And I just kind of get into the zeitgeist of what I think the story is and how it appeals to me. And I remember all of the cartoons I loved when I was a child, the illustrations and artwork that I like now, and I try to sort of incorporate that into whatever I do. I put it in the hopper, and out comes some kind of drawing.
Okay, how did the two of you then coordinate on this book? Tell me how the back and forth that you guys had of the talk that you had to capture his vision of the artist that you're going to capture now in pictures, in illustrations as well. How did you two get together on that?
Looking at the book I had with pictures of Addison Mizner as a kid and all that, they're all black and white, and there were lots of parts of his life that had no pictures, no photographs. So I'm thinking we could actually maybe blend some illustration with the photographs and drawings and maps. And I thought, I know the person to do it. And, you know, I've learned in life you just have to ask. And surprising things happen. And she said yes. So I sent off the manuscript to Barbara, and she just came up with these ideas. And here's here's the drawing of him as a kid, and here's with the family. And it was perfect. And then you look at the back of the book where he's now drawing his pictures of this club they built, the Everglades Club down in Palm Beach. Barbara's idea was to then take the old photographs of this fantastic place and put colorful drawings of people in them. And it works. It's marvelous. Everyone is completely intrigued by it.
Hold up a copy of the book here, and that's right. You got one of the Indie Awards last night.
We got a winner.
A winner award, top category.
As well as an illustration.
So tell me while I'm looking for this, you want to get the winner, you want to know about Addison Mizner, you want your fourth graders in that range to know about architecture, to want to know a great story, where do I go to find this book?
You can actually get it on Amazon. We checked that yesterday.
Oh, good, yes.
It's available there. But the Preservation Foundation of Palm Beach is the source. They were the publisher of this book.
And each one of you, do you have places where I can go to learn a little bit more about your other stuff? Or Bob,
Oh,
do you
yes.
have a website or a Facebook page?
RobertLForbes.com.
And Barbara, I know you have a lot of stuff, so let me have yours here.
Yes, it's BarbaraMcClintockBooks.com.
There we go. Two of the great people that we have met here at Zoom into Books at the American Library Association, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 2025 edition. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.